And I remember thinking to myself, crap, I can't do it. And I gave up. I gave up. I honestly just gave up because I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And I gave a lot of excuses. Hello. I am waiting for another call this morning. It's about 11 o'clock. And once again, waiting for a phone call. Oh. It's gonna be a long video. Hello, this is Tiffany. Woo! Okay, so I just got done with my phone interview, and it went. It went. I felt some of the things, like when it comes to like testing and what else? What else was there? Testing and like even positioning. It's kind of like for me. Some of those things I get discouraged about because I'm like, it's been forever, Tiffany. You've used it before. Just say it. Just talk about it. And I stumble a bit with that because I'm not sure of it. And so if I'm not sure of it, I don't want to just rattle off a lot of things that are dumb and don't make any sense. But yeah, there's a smoother way to do that. And sometimes I will get to the point where I could, smoothly say, hey, I know a little bit about that. Here's what I do know about that. But I'd like to learn more about that situation. So it's kind of that's kind of the route that I need to start doing better with, because my transitions are not good. This is why I don't like interviews. Yeah, so it lasted like 50 minutes or so. I wasn't expecting it to be that long. I expected like 30 minutes and that was it, and I was about to be done. But he asked some technical questions and things like that. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. It's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I didn't get it. No. And on that same retrospect, I did my I guess you can call it a budget. I don't really know. Every so often, I need to do it more, and I used to do it a ton bit when I was like, when I first started this whole being an adult situation. I did it more, but I don't really do it as much as I should do it. But I kind of do this whole budgeting thing, and what I do is I don't really call it a budget, because to me, I don't want to cut stuff out. I basically just say, here's the bills that need to be paid, and once those bills are paid, then I could do X, Y, and Z if I wanted to do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that's kind of my whole gist with the whole budgeting thing. But yeah, I don't really budget. There is a spreadsheet that I have, and I've had since I took a finance class. I used to be a finance minor, and so I took a lot of finance classes, and one of them was personal finance. It was my favorite class ever. And yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, finance, personal finance. I had like a big spreadsheet that we got from the professor, and it listed everything from your rent to your groceries to like your hair. I think hair was on there. Big spreadsheet with everything that you could imagine on their utilities bill. It had like I think it was a birthday call, like a birthday row that it had, or maybe celebration. I forget what it was called, but it had everything on that template, and I used that for a long time. And then I just got to the point where I stopped going on my computer and filling it out, because I was like, psh. I think either I increased my spending, or I got I kind of just got lost with it and stopped doing it, because you have to be very on it, because you list everything that you spend. If you go to the grocery store 4 times a month, you put that in the column. You keep adding that to the column. So anyways, that's a little thing for you. So since it's about noon right now, I'm gonna go grab some lunch. So I was just thinking, I thought to myself, why can't I ever just enjoy this holiday season? It seems like every time during the holidays, something happens. And just to reflect, last year I was at a job I absolutely disliked. Some of you know my story. If not, I'll link the story above so you can listen for yourself. But I was at a position, and I was at a job in a company, and you know, I'm nothing against the company, but I was just at a position that I did not favor, and I was micromanaged, and so it was something that I didn't want to continue with. So I made the decision to leave, and so I couldn't really enjoy the holidays last holiday because it was in an environment where I wasn't happy at work. And when you spend 8 hours a day at work and you're unhappy, it sucks, you know. And I've been there before, and before last year even. But I also had people around that were that made the experience a little bit better, and for that, you know, it means a lot when you have people around that can make the experience just a little bit better than what it is. And for that I am grateful. But last year at the position I was at the job I was at, the people made it worse, in my opinion. Not all the people, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I said all that to say that I just can't get the holidays to be in my favor. The year before that, I was at the other company that I had left in order to do the coding boot camp. So I was at that company. But like I said, I was in a position where I wasn't really excited about the work I was doing. The biggest highlight was talking to my coworkers around me, and you know, having those people around me really helped out a lot. And then a few years prior to that, because I stayed at that job for 3 years, a few years prior to that, then I was at a job where I got laid off 2 weeks before Christmas. So like, this is a recurring theme in my life where I can't fully enjoy the holidays like I'd like to, because, you know, financially I can't enjoy it the way I'd like to. I know what you're thinking. You're probably, well, you still have your family and stuff like that, and it's true, I do, and I'm very grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for my friends, and I'm grateful for my church family as well. And I'm grateful for that piece of my life. But yeah, I just happened to think earlier, like, crap, I can't get this whole holiday thing straightened out. I don't know. I just don't know. This is me being defeated because I don't know, like, how to fix this whole holiday thing. Ever since I got laid off of this job, I've been thinking about just life. I'm currently terrified, if I may say so, the most, because I realize that being laid off is it could happen to anyone, it could be at any time, and doesn't discriminate. My camera died, so I had to get a new SD card, so sorry about that. It made me realize, this whole experience of you know, finally having a position that meant something to me and then not having it, and it just quickly shows you that you can go from being way up here to way down here, and just like that, a snap of a finger. And so it made me realize that, of course, I want to focus on, you know, still building up my skill set and things like that. But I also want to focus on having additional income outside of my regular income, because it's important, it's imperative. At this point, I'm happy that I did things like invest in 401k and stuff like that, because it's important. And I've always done that. I've been doing that ever since I worked at the life insurance company. I've invested in 401k. I got, you know, life insurance benefits. And every company I go into, I get their health benefits and dental coverage and vision coverage. They're important. So if you aren't doing that, I think you should start. You should, if nothing else, then invest in 401k for that company, as long as you feel like it's a reputable company and that it will be beneficial to you. I would recommend that you do that. Even if you just put a couple bucks in there. I mean, even if you just do like the smallest minimum. I think like the minimum is like 4% maybe. I don't really know. I think it depends on your company, but and that's 4% of your income. I think it's your gross income, if I'm not mistaken. But I definitely take advantage of those things if you can. If you're in the position to do so, go for it. It helps to invest so that later on, if something happens, that you have something to refer back to. And yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. And as far as like the life insurance stuff is concerned, I learned about life insurance when I worked at the life insurance company. So it definitely helped. I was at this life insurance company for 3 years. Well, of course I'm gonna buy life insurance while I'm there. It was cheaper, and I was at a younger age, and so it was definitely a lot more cheaper than it would have been if I would have just got started now. And I keep up with those policies, and I make sure that they are, you know, continually paid I pay mine like every 3 months. So just because it's easier for me to manage, I don't have to worry about a monthly bill. I hate monthly bills. Like, I dislike monthly bills to the core. There are a few things that are monthly bills for me, and I keep them that way. So those are the only things that I have to worry about in the month, and I don't have to worry about all these extra things. But anyways, getting away from the topic, yeah, I was saying that it's a, you know, I'm looking at other ways to earn additional income. And so whether that be a part-time job, whether that be utilizing my skills and maybe doing a little bit of freelance here and there, putting it on my radar, because I understand the importance of it. I understand the importance of it now more than ever, having dealt with a layoff, and then this is the second time it happened in a matter of, last time it happened, it was 2012, and so here it is like 5 years later, and I'm going through the same thing. I know you're probably thinking, well, that's 5 years time, and yeah, sure it is, but that's a small amount of time, and I haven't been working that long. And so the next company I'm at, I really want to invest into myself, into that company. And I know what you're thinking, well, they burned you. Well, if you make yourself an employee that they can't get rid of, then you'll stay on longer than everybody else. Now, I know that may not be beneficial in the end, especially if a company is tanking and they're asking you to stick around. Like, it can be tough. But still, you won't get canned like everybody else that just did mediocre at best. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Be comfortable getting uncomfortable. There were times in my life where I just felt the most comfortable, and I'm like, I could be here. I'm good. And then life dumped itself, and you just gotta get uncomfortable. I'll tell this one story about being uncomfortable and kind of being out of my comfort zone, and then I'm done. I'm gonna do some work because I really have to focus and do some work. But it was about anything before 2009 for me. I was always scared to do things. and even after 2009, but there was a defining moment in 2010 that kind of made me rethink things. But in 2009 and prior, I was very afraid. I remember one time I was supposed to go to a networking event, and this was before you had your GPS on your phone and stuff like that. This was when you printed out the paper copy of the directions and you followed those directions, and if you didn't follow them, you might get lost. So yeah, I had my paper directions, and I was driving, and it was at nighttime, and it was during the winter months, probably during the holidays. I'm not for sure, I can't remember that far back, but I remember being lost, and I remember it being dark, and I remember being scared, and I remember saying to myself, because I went by myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find this place. I just can't find it. And I remember thinking to myself, crap, I can't do it. And I gave up. I honestly just gave up, because I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And I gave a lot of excuses. And I said to myself, I'm going home. But what's really funny is that I found my way home just fine, right? I knew how to get home, right? And when I got home, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, you know, Mom, I tried to go to this networking thing, and I couldn't find where I'm going. And she's like, well, you know, where were you? And I said, well, I was beside this street and this street. And she said, well, if you would have just went up a little bit further, then you would have been where you needed to be. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't know I was that close. So, of course, I was like feeling bad, because I'm like, dang, I could have went. Who knows who I could have met? And then fast forward to like a year later, I went to London. That's the year I went to London, 2010. I went to London, and it was part of a British Studies program through my university. And I went with people from the university, but I didn't know them all. I knew of a professor that was going, but I didn't know him well enough to like conversate with him and be like, what's up, dude? It was more just like, he's a professor, and I just, you know, I was in his class, but that's about it. So I really didn't know anybody. And so when we first got there, I got settled in, and I said, okay, I need to go buy a phone. Before we got to our rooms, we had like some informational packets that were given to us for the essentials. Like, okay, here's some places where you can go get a phone, here's some places where you can go get groceries, here's some places for this, here's some places for that, for food and stuff like that. So we had like a list of like recommendations basically. And I know I needed a phone because I didn't want to use my phone in order to while I was there, because that would have cost a lot of money. So I was like, okay, I need a phone right away. So I pretty much went in my room, set my stuff down, looked around. It was just a dorm room that I was in. I looked around, I was like, okay, time to go. And I walked out, and I went into where I was onto the street at this point, and I walked on the street. I looked left and I looked right, and I was like, well, this way is a whole bunch of like residential stuff. Can't go that way. Let me go this way, because it looks like more people are this way, so maybe this is where all the stuff is at. And I started walking, and I got about maybe 15 steps, 20 steps in, and I'm just like, I don't know where I'm going. I didn't know where I was going. And so I turned around, and I came back to the places where our dorm was at. We stayed at King's College, and I went back there, and they had like a lobby kind of area before you got to the dorms and stuff. So I went in there, and I'm like trying to find a map, and I ran into another individual who was a part of the program, and she wanted to find a phone too. So we connected in that way, and then, you know, we got the map, we started going, and all these sorts of things. But the point is, I finally got there. We got there, and it was all good. It was all good, because the difference between, there's a few differences, but the difference between the year before and that year was I literally had no choice. Like, I needed the phone. I had to go get the phone. It was just a matter of, how was I gonna go there to get it? I don't know. Oh, I need a map. Let me go get a map, right? And I got really good at reading maps while I was in London, and while I stayed at a different countries as well, or different places over there as well while I was over there, because it's easier to travel within Europe when you're already overseas. So I got a chance to visit different places, and I think the biggest thing that was different was me. Is I said I needed to get this done. I needed to do this one thing. I needed to make this happen. So if there's anything else I could tell you, if there's nothing else I could say to you, it's you got to have that confidence in yourself. And you just got to step out and just do it. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get it done. I had to go get a phone that day. That was my motivation. My motivation was to get this phone. But I didn't know where it was. I didn't know how to get there, right? But I landed the resources, and I even met some friends along the way. So take a risk, right? Take a risk. When life hands you things that are unexpected, right? Take the next risk that you need to take in order to get to where you need to be. So with that being said, I got work to do. And I've got some challenges I need to overcome. I have things I have to do. But I really hope that you all found this motivating in somewhere, one way or another. I didn't hit off all the things that I learned here. There's just so many things. But the important thing is that you just believe in yourself, and that you just have to start somewhere. And for me, it was just walking out the door. And once I walked out the door of that dorm, of that college campus, really, and out into the world, I started making decisions. So start making your decisions. But anyways, I will see you guys in another one. See you soon, and thanks for watching. Bye.